Hello, esteemed gentlemen. Knowing too much is like having X-ray vision in a world that worships costumes. Most people spend their lives trying to see more, understand more, and wake up to the truth. But the Sigma man, he wishes sometimes he could close his eyes again. Awareness is his superpower and his slow poison. Studies have shown that people with higher cognitive empathy often struggle with chronic loneliness and emotional fatigue. Now imagine living inside that kind of awareness every single day. That's the Sigma man's reality, gifted with perception sharp enough to read people's energy, yet cursed enough to feel the weight of every lie hiding behind their smiles. He's not paranoid, he's just cursed with clarity. He sees how manipulation is disguised as kindness, how success is often just a performance, and how society praises masks while fearing the men who don't wear them. And while everyone else plays blissfully ignorant, he's stuck with the heavy task of knowing too much. The funny part, people think he's quiet because he's mysterious. He's actually quiet because he's tired of pretending he doesn't see what everyone's trying so hard to hide. This is the paradox of the Sigma male. Awareness gives him power, but it also makes him miserable. Because once you learn how the world truly works, there's no going back to comfort. You stop believing in the fairy tales that keep everyone else entertained. You start seeing through every performance, every lie, every hidden agenda. And while others are asleep in illusion, he's wide awake, watching, thinking, and wondering if the truth is worth the loneliness it brings. Welcome to the burden of knowing too much, where awareness turns men into legends, but also into outcasts. Number 1, he's punished for being right. Too early. For a Sigma man, being right isn't a victory. It's a burden that often arrives years before anyone's ready to admit it. He has the kind of awareness that lets him see patterns long before they become obvious. He senses where things are heading, whether in relationships, business, or society. But instead of being celebrated for his insight, he's usually dismissed, mocked, or told he's overthinking. The world never rewards truth when it's too early to be comfortable. He might warn a friend about a manipulative partner, but they call him negative. He might question the motives behind a company's sudden generosity, and people say he's too skeptical. Then time proves him right. The partner betrays, the company exploits, and the same people who once called him paranoid now stay silent. No one ever apologizes for doubting him. They just quietly avoid eye contact, and he pretends not to notice. That's the curse of seeing before others do. He's right too soon for anyone to believe him. This constant cycle makes him detached. He stops trying to convince people because experience has taught him that truth only becomes visible when people are ready to face it, not when he exposes it. It's like watching a movie he's already seen, waiting for others to catch up. But the waiting dulls his excitement for connection because it's hard to bond with those who still believe in illusions he's already dissected. Being right too early doesn't bring him pride, it brings isolation. People confuse his foresight with arrogance, when in truth it's exhaustion. He doesn't want to be the man who always says, "I told you so." He just wishes someone would listen the first time. But deep down, he knows the truth never arrives to applause. It arrives in silence after the damage is done. So he stays quiet now, not because he's indifferent, but because he's learned that in a world addicted to comfort, truth-tellers always pay their dues in loneliness. Number 2, he battles a quiet arrogance. The Sigma man's awareness gives him an edge that few people can match, but it also tempts him with a silent kind of pride, the arrogance of knowing better. He doesn't walk around boasting or seeking validation, but deep inside, there's a part of him that feels detached from the world because of how clearly he sees through it. He watches people fall for manipulation, chase empty approval, or get lost in trends he's already outgrown, and a subtle voice whispers, "You're not like them." It's not loud or cruel. It's quiet, calm, and dangerously convincing. This quiet arrogance is difficult to detect because it hides behind his calmness. He tells himself he's simply observing, but sometimes he's judging. He sees ignorance as weakness, emotion as chaos, and conformity as blindness. Yet deep down, he knows he's not immune to the same flaws. He's just more aware of them. That awareness can make him feel superior in silence, but it also creates guilt. Because he doesn't want to look down on others, he just struggles to relate to them. What makes it more complicated is that his intelligence often gets mistaken for coldness. People think he's dismissive when he's just disappointed. They think he's detached when he's really protecting his energy from shallow noise. And though he doesn't show it, he hates that awareness has created distance between him and the very people he once wanted to understand. The more he knows, the harder it becomes to stay humble, not out of arrogance, but out of fatigue from pretending not to see what's obvious to him. So, he battles it daily. That internal tug-of-war between intellect and empathy, between truth and grace. Awareness made him powerful, but humility keeps him human. And though he rarely admits it, the greatest fight he faces isn't against the world's ignorance, it's against the quiet pride whispering that he's above it. Number 3. He knows solitude isn't peace, it's maintenance. To most people, solitude sounds peaceful, quiet mornings, calm thoughts, and a break from the chaos. But for a Sigma man, solitude isn't a luxury, it's survival. It's not the reward after a long day, it's the repair shop after emotional wreckage. The world drains him faster than it does others because he feels and observes everything too deeply. Every fake smile, every manipulative tone, every subtle lie. His mind records it all. So when he disappears into solitude, it's not because he's antisocial. It's because he needs to detox from the noise that others don't even notice. People mistake his alone time for contentment. They think he loves isolation, but what they don't see is how heavy his silence can be. It's not emptiness, it's processing. It's him piecing himself back together after being overloaded by a world that never stops talking. He's not sitting in peace. He's recalibrating his mind from all the energy he's absorbed. Awareness gives him insight, but it also overloads him with emotional data, and solitude is where he filters it. He knows too much to rest easily among others. In crowds, he feels the emotional static of everyone's hidden battles. Around people, he must constantly guard his energy because empathy without boundaries burns. Solitude becomes his maintenance zone, a space to recharge, think clearly, and remove the residue of human pretenses that stick to him like dust. Still, he's aware of the cost. He knows that too much solitude turns sharpness into numbness. It's a delicate balance. Too much interaction drains him. Too much isolation hardens him. That's why solitude for him isn't peace. It's necessary upkeep. It's how he stays sane in a world that rewards noise and punishes depth. For the Sigma man, silence isn't freedom. It's the price of awareness, the maintenance required to keep from collapsing under the weight of knowing too much. Number 4. He understands too much to hate, but too deeply to forget. For the Sigma man, awareness reshapes the way he experiences hurt. He can't hate people the way others do, because he understands them too well. He sees the fear behind cruelty, the insecurity behind arrogance, and the pain hiding inside betrayal. When someone wrongs him, he doesn't rush to anger. His mind starts dissecting the why behind it. He knows people act from wounds, not wisdom. But this understanding doesn't free him, it traps him, because while it prevents hatred, it also makes forgetting impossible. He carries the memory, not out of bitterness, but out of clarity. He remembers not just what happened, but what led to it, the tone, the hesitation, the emotional signs everyone else missed. It's like having a perfect recall of disappointment. His forgiveness comes easily because he understands cause and effect, but his trust rarely recovers. He can let go emotionally, but he never unsees the pattern. This is what makes his awareness a double-edged sword. It softens his heart but scars his memory. Most people move on by oversimplifying. They were just bad people. The Sigma can't. He sees too many layers in everyone's behavior to label it that easily. So he ends up holding both empathy and distance at once. He doesn't hate anyone, but he doesn't return the same either. His silence isn't coldness, it's protection from reopening wounds he's already studied too deeply. The hardest part is that no one notices how heavy that understanding is. People praise him for being calm and wise, but they don't realize the emotional cost of seeing through everything. It's not that he doesn't feel, he feels too much, and that's why he chooses peace over revenge. But peace built on understanding isn't peace at all. It's quiet acceptance of a truth he can never forget. That seeing too deeply means forgiving everyone except the part of himself that still remembers. Number 5. He lives in constant duality. The Sigma man's awareness splits him in two. On one side, he sees the ruthless truth of how the world works: manipulation, ego, control, and deception. On the other, he refuses to play by those rules, no matter how much easier life would be if he did. This constant duality becomes both his strength and his silent torment. He understands the game perfectly, but he won't cheat to win. He knows how to dominate, deceive, and manipulate, but his conscience won't let him. So he walks through life as both the observer and the participant, sharp enough to outplay everyone, yet too self-disciplined to lower his standards. This internal split exhausts him. His mind is pragmatic, but his soul is stubbornly moral. He watches how corruption often gets rewarded and how authenticity gets punished, and yet he still chooses the harder path, the one that doesn't betray who he is. People mistake his calmness for detachment, but in truth, it's control. He constantly balances between understanding human darkness and resisting its pull. Awareness has made him wise, but it's also made him conflicted. He knows goodness doesn't always win, but he refuses to let that justify becoming like the people he sees through. His duality isolates him because he belongs fully to neither side. He's too grounded for the dreamers, too introspective for the ruthless. He operates in the middle, where clarity meets chaos. That's why he's hard to read. Some days he seems cold, others deeply compassionate. He shifts between logic and empathy like a pendulum that never stops swinging. Awareness keeps him awake in both worlds, one of truth, one of temptation, and he can't unsee either. In the end, his duality defines him. It's what makes him powerful, but also what keeps him restless. Because when you know too much to be naive, yet too principled to be corrupt, peace becomes something you understand, but never fully feel. Number 6. They see motives, not moments. For the Sigma man, awareness turns every interaction into a quiet analysis. He doesn't just listen to what people say, he studies why they said it, how they said it, and what they didn't say. His mind works like a radar that can't be switched off, scanning for patterns, motives, and hidden intentions. It's not paranoia, it's precision. He's learned that words are often camouflage, and energy never lies. But this sharp perception, while powerful, steals something simple from him, the ability to just be in the moment. When someone laughs, he senses whether it's genuine or forced. When someone praises him, he feels the undercurrent of envy or agenda. Even in love, He can't escape his mental habit of dissecting microsignals and emotional inconsistencies. People call him detached, but in truth he's just too alert. He can't turn off the awareness that sees beyond the surface. It's like he's always reading the subtitles under every human interaction, and once you learn to read them, you can't stop. This awareness makes relationships complicated. He can't easily trust or relax because his instincts keep whispering what others ignore. He sees manipulation dressed as affection, flattery used as strategy, and kindness laced with self-interest. It's not that he doesn't want to enjoy the moment. He just knows too well what often hides beneath it. Over time, this mental vigilance becomes both armor and prison. It protects him from deceit, but it also isolates him from joy. He misses out on the unfiltered experiences others take for granted because his mind is always running in the background, decoding everything. Awareness gives him control, but it robs him of innocence. He sees too clearly to be fooled, and too deeply to be carefree. For the Sigma man, every moment comes with a motive attached, and every connection carries a cost. Number 7. Empathy feels like a curse, not a gift. For the Sigma man, empathy isn't a gentle trait, it's a heavy one. He doesn't just notice pain, he absorbs it. When someone says they're fine, he hears the hesitation behind the words. When someone smiles, he feels the tension hiding beneath it. His awareness cuts through masks so effortlessly that he ends up carrying emotions that don't even belong to him. People think he's calm because he doesn't react, but inside, he's quietly processing the emotional weight of everyone around him. It's not that he's overly sensitive, it's that he's attuned. He reads emotional energy, like most people read text. He can tell when someone's struggling even when they don't say a word, and that knowledge becomes exhausting. He wants to help, but he also knows he can't fix what others refuse to face. So he carries it silently, trying not to drown in empathy that often feels more like punishment than understanding. This kind of emotional awareness makes him compassionate, but it also isolates him. He can't unsee the silent battles others hide, and pretending not to care feels dishonest. But caring too much drains him. He becomes a quiet sponge for the world's hidden suffering, a burden no one sees him bear. While others go about their lives oblivious to emotional undercurrents, he walks through them like a man walking through smoke, unseen but choking on what others ignore. That's why he values solitude so much. It's not rejection of people, it's recovery from them. Empathy leaves him emotionally overdrawn, constantly giving energy without asking for it back. He knows too much about human pain to hate anyone, but too much to stay unaffected by it either. For him, empathy isn't a soft superpower. It's a curse that keeps him human in a world where feeling deeply often costs more than it rewards. Number 8. He recognizes the futility of most pursuits. For the Sigma man, awareness strips the glitter off everything society glorifies. He sees how most people chase validation disguised as ambition, how status is just a more polished form of insecurity, and how luxury often hides emotional bankruptcy. The more he observes, the more he realizes that much of what drives the world is emptiness dressed as purpose. He sees people working themselves to exhaustion just to impress others who aren't even watching. And once you see that clearly, it becomes nearly impossible to care about winning a game that rewards illusion. This realization doesn't make him lazy. It makes him detached. He still works, creates, and achieves, but his motivation runs on clarity, not illusion. He doesn't chase applause because he knows attention fades faster than integrity. He doesn't care for titles or trophies because they rarely represent truth. To him, most pursuits are just noise, endless cycles of people proving their worth to other people who are doing the same. Awareness turns ambition into something quieter, self-mastery instead of competition. Yet this clarity carries a cost. It makes it hard for him to feel excitement about things that once motivated him. Watching others find joy in superficial victories leaves him torn. Part of him envies their ignorance, another part pities it. He no longer believes in the promise that money or fame will fill the inner void. He's seen too many people reach the top only to crumble inside. So he plays along, but with a smirk, aware that the prize everyone worships isn't real fulfillment, just distraction with better packaging. The Sigma man's curse is that he can't unsee the truth. Most pursuits are designed to keep people busy, not fulfilled. While others run in circles chasing importance, he walks his own path not because he's superior, but because he finally understands that meaning isn't found in the race, it's found in walking away from it. Number 9. He detects lies so easily. It breeds distrust for the Sigma man. Awareness is both a shield and a wound. He can sense dishonesty faster than most people can finish a sentence. A shift in tone, a flicker in eye contact, a forced smile. He catches them all. It's not guesswork, it's instinct sharpened by observation. He's seen too many performances disguised as sincerity, too many empty words wrapped in charm. Over time, this constant detection of deception erodes something vital in him, his ability to trust. When you see how easily people lie, even over small things, it becomes difficult to believe anyone's truth. He stops taking compliments at face value because he can feel when they're given for convenience rather than meaning. He stops believing apologies because he knows when they're meant to calm guilt rather than express regret. Even affection begins to feel questionable because he can sense when it's transactional, when it's love that demands, not love that gives. Awareness turns him into someone who doesn't argue or expose liars anymore. He just quietly withdraws. He's not bitter, just exhausted from seeing too much of what others refuse to notice. This constant vigilance makes relationships complicated. He wants to trust, but his mind keeps scanning for inconsistencies. It's not that he enjoys doubting people. It's that he's seen enough to know how good humans are at pretending. The result is a kind of emotional armor that keeps him safe but also lonely. He'd rather stand alone in truth than be surrounded by comfortable lies. Ironically, people accuse him of being distant when it's honesty he's craving. He doesn't need perfection, just transparency. But in a world where most people lie as easily as breathing, his gift becomes his curse. He sees through too much, feels too deeply, and trusts too little. Awareness made him perceptive, but it also made peace with others nearly impossible. Number 10. He understands human patterns but can't escape them. The Sigma man's awareness gives him front-row access to the blueprint of human behavior. He sees exactly why people repeat mistakes, chase pain, and sabotage the very things that could heal them. He knows the psychology behind attachment, the illusion of control, and the slow decay of ego. He can explain why love becomes obsession and why power always demands a price. But knowing doesn't equal immunity. Awareness may warn him, but it doesn't save him from the pull of human instinct. He still bleeds, still craves, still falls. The only difference is that he knows exactly why it's happening, even as he can't stop it. That's what makes his struggle so haunting. When he gets attached to someone he knows isn't right for him, he understands the mechanics, the dopamine, the trauma bond, the need for connection. Yet understanding doesn't quiet the ache. When he procrastinates, he knows it's fear of imperfection disguised as rest. When he isolates, he knows it's self-protection turning into avoidance. Every weakness, every emotion, every impulse, he sees it clearly, but still feels it fully. It's like watching yourself fall in slow motion, aware of every step, but unable to hit pause. This kind of awareness breeds humility. He stops judging people harshly because he sees himself reflected in their flaws. He knows that intelligence doesn't override emotion, and that logic can't always silence the heart. Awareness makes him wise, but it also makes his mistakes heavier, because he knows better, and that knowledge becomes a silent punishment. In the end, he learns that understanding human nature doesn't mean escaping it. It only means you fall with open eyes. He feels the same pain, makes the same errors, but processes them on a deeper level. Awareness doesn't make him invincible, it makes him painfully self-aware, trapped between what he knows and what he still feels powerless to stop. Number 11. He realizes. Morality is situational, not absolute. For the Sigma man, awareness dismantles the comforting illusion that morality is clear-cut. Through sharp observation, he notices how quickly people's principles collapse when their comfort, ego, or survival is on the line. The same person who preaches honesty will lie when it protects their image. The one who condemns betrayal will justify it when the reward is high enough. He watches people twist morality like clay, shaping it to fit their desires, and once he sees this pattern repeatedly, idealism dies quietly inside him. He stops labeling people as good or bad because he understands that most actions are born from fear, need, or desperation, not from pure evil or pure virtue. This awareness changes the way he sees the world. He no longer expects integrity to be consistent or loyalty to be unconditional. Instead, he measures people by their capacity for self-control when tested, not by their moral speeches when comfortable. It's a colder lens, but it's the honest one. This shift comes at a price. Realism makes him look cynical, even heartless, to those who still live inside moral absolutes. But in truth, he's not bitter. He's just tired of pretending that people are who they claim to be. He knows that everyone has a threshold where morality bends, even himself. That humility keeps him grounded. He doesn't place himself above others, he just refuses to be shocked when human nature exposes its inconsistencies. What used to inspire him, virtue, loyalty, justice, now feels conditional. He still values them, but without illusion. He helps people not because they're good, but because he chooses to be. Awareness stripped away his naivety, but left him with something stronger, discernment. He no longer believes in perfect morality, only in choices made under pressure. And that realization, though heavy, is what makes him both wiser and infinitely lonelier. Number 12. He knows success doesn't cure emptiness. For the Sigma man, success lost its magic long ago. He's seen how people light up under attention but dim when the spotlight fades. He's seen the wealthy still restless, the famous still insecure, and the powerful still lonely. Once you've observed enough of that, you stop believing the myth that success brings peace. He understands that external victories don't fix internal voids, they just decorate them. The applause, the recognition, the validation, they're all temporary highs that fade once the noise dies down. And for someone as self-aware as him, that realization changes everything. He still works hard, still achieves, but his ambition has shifted from emotional hunger to logical motion. He no longer chases success for fulfillment. He does it because it's what he's wired to do. He performs, creates, and accomplishes, but without the illusion that it'll make him whole. That's why his drive looks calm instead of desperate. He's detached from the fantasy of arrival. He knows there's no final win, no permanent satisfaction. Success to him is just another cycle of effort, reward, and eventual boredom. This awareness often makes him misunderstood. People can't grasp how someone so capable can be so indifferent to praise. But he's not ungrateful, just awake. He's learned that the emptiness people try to fill with achievement doesn't vanish. It only quiets down for a while before returning louder. He's met too many people who made it, yet still felt hollow inside. That's why he focuses on mastery, not medals, on peace, not position. The tragedy of awareness is that it kills the dream before the dream can disappoint you. The Sigma man no longer worships success because he knows it doesn't fix the ache that lives beneath it. It might buy comfort, but not contentment. It can fill his hands, but never his soul. And once you understand that, ambition becomes less of a chase and more of a quiet, necessary routine. In the end, the Sigma man's awareness is both his crown and his cross. It gives him the sharpness to see through illusions, but it also strips away the comfort that ignorance brings. He's the kind of man who walks through life seeing every thread, the manipulation behind charm, the fear behind confidence, the loneliness behind smiles. That level of perception grants him power most people will never possess. But power without peace becomes a heavy load, and for the Sigma, peace is a luxury his mind rarely allows. He doesn't seek pity, he seeks understanding. He knows the cost of seeing too much, yet he wouldn't trade it for blindness. Because even though awareness makes him restless, it also makes him real. He'd rather wrestle with uncomfortable truths than live in a convenient lie. The world might call that overthinking, but for him, it's survival. A constant calibration between who he is and what he refuses to become. There's a quiet tragedy in knowing too much, but there's also an unmatched strength in owning it. The Sigma man learns to live between extremes, between wisdom and weariness, solitude and connection, insight and exhaustion. His awareness isolates him, yes, but it also defines him. It's what makes him unshakable in chaos, unreadable in manipulation, and untouchable in pretense. So while others chase pleasure, he chases clarity. While others seek validation, he seeks truth. That truth may sometimes ache, but it keeps him grounded in a world built on illusion. His misery, in many ways, is proof of his depth, and his power, proof of his restraint. That's the paradox of the Sigma male. The more he knows, the less he needs, yet the more he feels. If you've made it this far, you already know. Awareness isn't just knowledge, it's endurance. So if this spoke to you, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Let's build a community of minds that see deeper, think sharper, and dare to stay awake in a world that prefers to sleep.